30 minutes of power.
Welcome back to another lovely episode of 30 Minutes of Power, TOP, your one-stop shop for all things encouraging, entertaining, and motivating. It's your girl, Jory O'Neal. How y'all doing, people? How you doing? How you feeling? How you living? Listen, today's guest, Dr. K. Listen, first of all, I've been following and in this woman's ecosystem in orbit for over a year.
Ooh.
But this is the first time, she don't even know this. This is the first time I get the opportunity to share space. So I'm excited. You should be excited too for this conversation. If you are a woman who is looking to level up in your community, level up in your ability to be liberated from the demands of life that others have put on you, this conversation is for you. I would love to welcome to the show Dr. K. Listen, I'm gonna jump right into it. Listen, y'all go on her website. Go on her website and y'all figure out how dope she is. All right, y'all go figure it out like I did. Dr. K, first of all, thank you for making time. I know this was like
of course. Thank you for having me.
You.
Listen, that's life. Thank you for having me. We're here now, and I'm grateful for it.
Amen. Amen. I appreciate you. You describe yourself, and this is why I want my audience to know off bat. You describe yourself as your girlfriend, Dr. K, love and liberation coach.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about that moment. How did you girlfriend? It wasn't a boutique anymore. Now this is a calling, right? So walk me through that. How did we get here?
Yes. So there were so many pivotal moments, right? I would say starting out as a brick and mortar, it was my girlfriend's closet. That's how people would call me. Oh, this is my girlfriend's closet, right? And then COVID came, right? We have a pandemic. No brick and mortars are open. So then what? Business got to continue. Life's got to go on. And so one of the things I realized is that the women who came to the boutique, I call them girlfriends. And then I said, okay, well, they don't have a boutique to come to, but there's still this energy. There's still this feeling. There's still this connection, this yearning for us to still be in community and in spaces together. And I said, it's a ism. And I said, you know what? I like that because even before we got to the pandemic and to the brick and mortar and all of that, I've had my healing journey with domestic violence, sexual violence, being an advocate in my community and standing up against crime against women and girls for over a decade. And I said, you know, what a beautiful thing it would be for me to redefine a narrative, recreate it altogether, and create an ism that's actually not harming people, but loving on people. Create an ism that is centered on love and not hate. Create an ism that is centered on liberation and not oppression. And so this is my challenging those oppressive isms through Girlfriend-ism. And that helped to come to fruition because we didn't have that brick and mortar. So that forced me to think on a more liberated level, not just the 84 square miles that I'm on in the Virgin Islands, but to think about it more globally because women everywhere deserves Girlfriend-ism. So that's it in a nutshell.
I love that. The summation is bananas because what we're about to unpack is how in 2011 my girlfriend's closet opened, right?
Yep, we did.
By 2021 you had trademarked Girlfriend-ism.
Yes.
So you turned fashion, faith, and friendship into a global brand.
Yep. Global love and liberation.
All right. So part of my journey, and I know a lot of other people's journeys, is leaving that corporate space, leaving the C-suite exec space.
Yes.
And almost like venturing out into your own mission. Like you've led other troops, you've built other people's businesses.
Yes.
And now it's like, okay, what am I building? What gets talked about when I'm no longer in the room, or no longer on the earth, right? Because
what's the legacy?
This is correct. And so you resigned as VP or executive director, right?
Yep, executive director. Yep, Domestic Violence Sexual Assault Coalition.
Sexual assault. Yep. Okay. And so This is mid-pandemic. So when everybody's like,
listen,
I like my job to pay me and I don't got to show up, you're like, actually, I quit. Like, so.
Right. That part. Oh my God. You know, when I think back on it, I was like, girl, you crazy. You ain't got no good sense. And at the same time, I always say, thank God, right? Girlfriend-ism is purpose-led. It's very much spirit-led. It is intuitive. It is divine. So it's one of those decisions where I know that it has to be made, even though I don't know how the hell I'm going to get this done, right? But this is where and for me as a love and liberation coach, this is where I have to challenge myself all the time not to be a hypocrite, right? Because if I'm liberated, if I have faith, if I'm divine, all of these things, then if this is what I say to people, then I have to put that into practice too. And that's what this journey of entrepreneurship has been for me from the beginning, is a knowing. Like, I don't think I'm going to be successful. I don't believe it's going to be a global brand. I know. And stepping into that, even when the pathway is not clear, even when I don't know how. And sometimes it takes difficult situations to get us there. So I can't say that I was just like all couraged up and I said, oh, I'm going to step out into faith. No, honey, it wasn't quite like that. It was a situation at work where I was just like, if I'm not going to be treated well, if I'm not going to be getting paid what I deserve to get paid, if I'm going to be broke anyway and stressed out anyway, I might as well be broke, stressed out, and doing what I love to do. Because then in that case, I can't lose anyway, because at least my heart will be full. You understand? And so it was a situation that pushed me, but I'm grateful for it every day.
So what I'm hearing you say, like, the undertone of what you're sharing is that you were in an oppressive system and you desire to take your power back.
That's right. And I did the minute I step out that door.
But
yes.
I hope people is picking up what's happening right here, because you spent years,
almost a decade,
in this space of helping other people liberate themselves, helping other people find freedom, helping other people acknowledge that they were being oppressed, right? Because you can't change that if you don't acknowledge what's happening, right? You take inventory. And so it's in the midst of you doing the work that you're like, actually, wait, this feels like that.
Right. And it felt like a contradiction at that point too. And so I think that is one of the key things for entrepreneurs, to always check in with their bodies and check in with themselves. Like, am I at a place where this feels aligned, or am I a contradiction? So there was a point in time in that work where it was aligned, right? And then there became a transitional point where I said, this doesn't sit right with me. This doesn't feel right anymore. I don't enjoy this anymore. I feel like I'm in this oppressive system. I can't be fighting for injustice, and I feel like I'm being treated unjustly. So what am I going to do about that? And that's where I had to shift.
So it was in the growth of you just exploring, learning, digging, reflecting, figuring out who you were, what your values were.
Yes.
What you were willing to tolerate and what you were not.
That's right.
That you outgrew this role.
There you have it. And when you talk about what am I going to tolerate, what I'm not going to tolerate, it was so interesting because, like you said, I was in that domestic violence, sexual violence field. So I'm talking to people about boundaries. I'm talking to people about safety. I'm talking to people about what it is that they deserve. And yet I don't feel that way. So that's a contradiction. So when there's a contradiction, there's misalignment. And so if I'm going to have integrity, if I'm going to be true in what it is that I do, even if that taking that step towards alignment feels scary, even if it feels uncertain, I have to operate from alignment, because then anything I build, if it's being built from a place of hypocrisy, contradiction, misalignment, it's going to crumble anyway. You understand?
Correct.
So I could stay and have the outward perception of having it all together, but it's going to crumble anyway. So I may as well take that step out, have the courage to do that, and just start building on a solid foundation. And so that was the choice that I made. And I ain't got no regrets. None whatsoever.
You shouldn't have any. So I want to switch really quickly because I'm a publisher. This is what I do. It's my job. I help people publish books. I'm a publishing authority partner. I take all the goodness on the inside. I help people pull it on the outside.
Oh, I
put
love
it in
that.
the book so they can share it with the universe and give other people their testimony in a way that empowers others, right? Your dissertation, Caribbean music as a way, Caribbean music and dance.
And dance, Caribbean
as
women music and dance
for survivors of intimate partner violence. I was like, how? What?
But this, even my dissertation in itself was pushing back against the grain, because I remember going into my first residency, right, for my PhD, and they said, listen, my advisor said, listen, I know y'all are passionate. You're trying to solve all the world's problems and you want to take something that you really love. But the goal is to just get your PhD. Take the easiest route, get the PhD, and then do all the exploration you want afterwards. And I said, yeah, but then here comes this thing of alignment. And I said, well, I don't want to do that, though. If I'm going to go through this, I'm going to go in debt for it. I want it to be about something I'm passionate about. Because guess what? When I had to put my kids to bed at 10 o'clock, after working a 12-hour day, after holding space for people, and after trying to keep people from, going over the ledge, and whether it's in therapy, trying to help people to process grief with movement, and I was exhausted as hell, and I had to get up at midnight and work until 4 a.m. What got me through is that I chose what was aligned. I chose what I was called to do, not something that was just going to put a checkbox, right? That's what kept me going, right? Even as a mom, of a new baby, because he was when I left, he was less than a year. Then I started my PhD. He was less than 2 years. I was a mama of 2, still going through my own situation with domestic violence, even though I had been divorced, court processes. And sometimes people don't realize that the incident had passed, but for years after, still going through the court process, still going through restraining orders, still doing all of that, and still holding space for this dissertation because I was passionate about it. And that's what got me through. And so I utilized that dissertation as an opportunity, one, to create voice and access, because I'm in the Virgin Islands. We are a colony of the United States, so we do not get voting privileges. We cannot vote for the president. We have representation, right? But we don't have access to the same services, the same funding, the same rights as those who are on the continental US. And so when this dissertation came about, I said, I want to hold space for survivors to be able to share something that they may never get to share, because we don't even get funding to host programs that would be able to help them share this. And so it's something that I use even to today, to be quite honest. As a survivor, I tapped into survivors who helped me to get my PhD. So I owe it to them for sitting with me and sharing with me about how culture helped to shape their identity when they were going through the deepest moments, when they were thinking that maybe life is just better off without me in it. What they held on to, the things that helped them to remind them of who they are and their ancestors, was culture, was music, was the way we show up, right? In our African wear, in our madras wear. And so it was a powerful, powerful experience to do that research, and quite a privilege.
What did it teach you, though, about your own healing that you hadn't already known from living it?
Yes. I didn't realize how strong I was. And I don't mean that in the sense of carrying the cape, right, that we are sometimes forced to carry, especially as women of color, especially in this country of America. But, when we're going through something, sometimes we're just going through it. We're just doing what we have to do. We're showing up with all the hats that we have to show up with. And we don't always get an opportunity to take a step back to say, oh my goodness, let me hold space for myself, because this is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm thinking. So the process of the dissertation, and that's why I cried so many times after each interview, because I saw myself in each one of these women, right? And I remembered some of them still going through their process. And I could remember what it was like to be in that space, and when they shared so vulnerably. And so when I listened to it, what it taught me about myself was about my resilience that I didn't really hold space to recognize, because I was just doing what I needed to do to get through. And also recognizing that we have the tools within us to heal all along. So I think as I was navigating, right, misaligned corporate spaces that were oppressive in itself, as I was navigating unhealthy relationships, all of that, I kept looking outside of myself for like, how do I deal with this? Like, what is a court document that I need to resolve this? Like, what is going to be the organization that's going to help me to resolve this? Like, what needs to happen to this man? Like, it's got to be something outside of me, right? Like, something's got to happen. Come on now. But then I realized, like, my healing process is everything that I am. It's the essence of me that has gotten me through that. And it's actually been a gift to recognize that and to help other people to recognize that, listen, you have all that you need within you to heal. Now, the support systems, the access, all of that helps us to get to that process a little bit faster, maybe a little bit more gracefully, with a little bit less bumps. But no organization, no person, nothing outside of you is responsible or can take credit for your healing. We do that. That's all within us. And so we have the power to heal ourselves if we give ourselves the space to actually hold ourselves as we deserve to be held and to be supported, which is where that Girlfriend-ism community comes in, to be supported in that process.
All right. So I know you co-authored a book, right? Passion and Purpose.
Yes, Passion and Purpose.
Best-selling author, Am.
Uh-huh.
When's the solo project hitting?
Oh, are you inviting me into a solo project?
I'm just saying. From what you just shared, listen, I mean, because no, honestly, like, I sit across from a lot of humans as a podcaster, and I get to hear a lot of stories. And so the reason that I'm able to like really quickly tap into touch onto things that you're sharing is because these are things that people are actually asking about. How do I heal from within? How do I use things that were once harmful and detrimental? Because you're taking dance. You're taking movement. You're taking something that for some is an invitation to danger. Right. And shifting
and transform. That's right. Transform it.
Right. So you're allowing people to use this thing that they're like, oh no, don't look, don't see, don't taste, don't touch. And you're like, no, actually go there and find your power.
Yes.
Because it was already
and I love
theirs.
that. That's right.
All right, you got a lot of titles that you already go by. Right. So I want to respect your time because like I say, I've been waiting for this conversation. Like I said, I know what I wanted to know.
I'm so happy we're here. The time always just goes by too fast. The time always just goes by too fast.
I know what I wanted to know, but I want to be a respectful host, and I want to give my audience an opportunity to learn more about you. So certain titles you use, she,
CEO. Yes.
You have the dancing doctor.
Yes. Love and liberation coach.
Safe space goddess.
Yes.
All right, so they can use any of those as a doorway to finding you.
Absolutely. And the one that I lead with typically the most is your girlfriend, Dr. K, because I don't want that Dr. K to give people any kind of a perception that, I got to get my stuff together before. No, girl, please. Ain't nothing that you could tell me that I probably haven't been through, haven't seen, haven't supported a sister through. And at the end of the day, we are all human. Okay, don't nobody have all their stuff together, no matter what the titles are, because we're all figuring life out as we go. And so I do lead with the girlfriend because first and foremost, that's how we connect with people. It's not through our titles, but it's actually through our humanity. So I lead with that one the most. And then definitely the dancing doctor because, when we talk about the dissertation and talking about dance as healing and everything that you pointed out, we talk about carnival, for example, in that research and how it has been used to objectify and to hypersexualize women and how some survivors have been able to take that experience and to shift it. And so when I dance with the perspective of healing, not performance. And I was a dancer before. I used to perform. I traveled and have been paid to dance. And now when people say, can you perform? I said, nope. I dance to heal now. And that's different. So those are the two that you'll find that I will lead with most. But yes, all of the above.
I love it. And so I want to touch on this before we land this plane. And then I'm going to ask you if a woman is listening and she's carrying a story that she's never told out loud. What is one of the first liberated steps she could take?
Yes. That's a tough one. I almost want to make it a twofer. That's me trying to cheat. But the first thing that came up was liberate yourself, right? And what does that mean? Is tell someone or something, even if you journal about it. We have to honor our truth, right? And I think sometimes we look at the things that we've experienced and we attach shame, we attach guilt, we attach expectation, we attach narratives. Liberating ourselves and just honoring the truth, detaching the additional narratives around that, right? So sometimes I say to somebody, I'm a survivor. In the past, that was difficult to say because there are all these stigmas associated with a survivor. Oh, she's not educated or she's poor. And I'm like, listen, sexual assault does not discriminate. It doesn't care about your class. It doesn't care about your race, none of that. And I said, well, if I detach these narratives, these social narratives, it's just the truth that I was assaulted. That doesn't define me. It doesn't determine where I am going. And so for the woman who may have these untold stories in her, one, your power is in that story. There's nothing that we experience in this life in vain. Everything that we go through, it gives us an opportunity to transform that. So what do we want to do with that? So honor the truth. Recognize that there is power and there's purpose even in the most traumatic things that you have experienced. And now what do you want to do with that? How do we want to transform it? So those are the three. I know you said one, but I had to cheat. So those three.
I love it. I love it.
And that's a process to liberate yourself. Yes.
Cheating is allowed. All right. So we just listened to probably a masterclass on self-liberation and healing. Where do we send people and what should they do the moment that they get there?
Ooh, okay. So girlfriend-ism.com.
Like the people that's listening right now,
yes.
like where we going?
Yes. Go to girlfriend-ism.com and subscribe. It's free 99. Free. Don't cost nothing. Girlfriend-ism.com. Just subscribe. Okay? That's the first thing. Why I send out weekly newsletters. In that weekly newsletter, it gives you everything in the ecosystem of Girlfriend-ism. So there's membership. We have our upcoming retreat. We just launched a all docs on deck with women of color doctors across the globe, across the diaspora, right? So all of those things come in one space during the week. And you can look at it and say, okay, what am I ready to receive? Where do I see myself in this ecosystem of Girlfriend-ism? So that's the easiest. Go to girlfriend-ism.com, subscribe. It is free. And just get into the fold. Start receiving the information and see what speaks to you most. Because remember that aligned life is important. So just see what aligns. That's how you can reach me.
Listen, this is an aligned podcast because our tagline on this podcast is be an empowered person using your power to empower others.
Yes.
And your tagline is very similar. You said the art of being a girlfriend. Whose empowerment serves others.
That's right. Because when we're empowered by ourselves and for ourselves, I mean, that's great. But, the real impact it comes with those that you serve and those that you help. Because you know what? I can get here by myself. No one is an island by themselves. And so everything that we do is a gift and it's a privilege to be able to help others in the process. That's the whole point of life. As social creatures, is to help one. Each one help one. So, yes.
Dr. K, thank you sincerely for coming on the podcast, for blessing us with your energy, with your information, with your spirit, your presence.
Likewise.
We gonna keep chatting. We will.
That's
but in the meantime, between time, yes, ma'am. In the meantime, between time, people, I do desire for you to be an empowered person, using your power to empower others. It's 30 minutes of power. Joy O'Neill, Dr. K, Girlfriend-ism. Until next time, people. Peace.
Johnny minutes of power.